High grade, Perfect Strike Gundam. Hey, what's up again everybody? It's Robert184, 2Rs2Bs, gundam.tk, and the Perfect Strike Gundam here is perfectly put together. So now let's take a look at the individual parts and the whole load of weapons that are going to be attached and see just how this high grade improvement stacks up. With the body consisting of the legs, waist, chest, and you'll notice that the striker packs, the shoulders are already going to be attached on. But most of the focus is going to be and should be on this absolute monstrosity of a beast that's going to get slapped onto his back, with this being the remainder of the weapons and parts. With a few extras you can put together there, the shield without stickers there, the beam rifle, the hand there is going to be white instead of gray, and you can actually swap off the new battery pack holder there on the Ale Strike pack. To pick an adjective for the strike, well, for me it would always just be solid, because this is a kit that's just fun to put together no matter what size, what grade. And that's due in no small part to the design there, as you can just see that the gray frame there that's going to be sticking out all over the place, despite the fact that it's 10-year-old construction methods here, it's still going to work. Polycaps up there, and you'll notice that you're only going to be getting a 90 with one bend there, but little details like gray there on the inside, gray parts protruding everywhere, which is a good thing there. The ankle's going to rock back and forth, as is the ankle guard here, and the feet are going to move fairly well side to side, front and back. The waist section continues the theme, although you can see that it's going to need a little bit of black marker there to get it nearer to snuff. Some gray there on the inside, very simple plates there on the back, and the side skirts, don't expect any cool knives to pop out of there. But on the front, you are going to have these, they're not going to be independent, just standard hips, these are not going to be moving whatsoever, but you do have this nice gray piece there, which is going to show through, and a blue piece up top that's not actually a seal, and I just went in there with some lining marker to add some black, and I'm sure there's better ways to do it. The chest had to be the biggest disappointment though, because even from a distance I'd say it's going to look pretty sharp because it's got all the right colors in all the right places. However, putting it together, well, you're only going to have two, as you've basically just got red parts here that you're going to plug into the bottom, and big blue parts up there with a polycap to hold this whole thing together when you put on the backpack. But what you're going to do is you're going to take these white seals here and put them on down below, and you're going to take these silverish seals, which are going to do a very good job of matching the inner frame gray that was used here. Put these on either side and up there. These ones around the neck are not going to fit perfectly, but I'd say that the end result in terms of looks is quite good, even if the actual feel is more non-grade. Starting with the imperfect arms, and I think that's the right adjective for them, as they really are going to be plain, and I do have to laugh, flashing back, because for me, after putting together the Master Grade Ground Gundam, I was debating, because I was really enjoying Seed at the time, should I get the high grade or should I get the Master Grade? And I remember looking at the high grade and seeing all of these gray parts there that are going to need paint if you want to make them look proper. And just going with that, I was down the 1/100th good guy path and have never looked back. Here you can see that you're just going to have some simple moving parts. They're going to come up and down. It's a little bit stiff. Rotating around, 90-degree there bend for the elbow. Nothing too fancy. Nice inner frame there exposed there. And the hand is going to be different colors here. But it's some old ugly things here, like having the forearm split right there down the middle. And all the apps that are missing until you can add some color. In the form of the Launcher Strike Gundam's weapon pack over here, which is going to look really good, I'd say, from a distance again, but that's thanks in no small part to the massive amount of seals on there. Just a few main parts here as you put it all together. Green parts there, they're going to lock in very nicely to the shoulders. This black part is going to protrude there from the inside, and otherwise you're going to have red parts down there, a yellow seal that's going to go on there. But if you take a look at these seals here, they're pretty complex because they have to be fitting on three sides, as there is a fair bit of width on there. So they're not going to go on there perfectly, and down here where you're going to have the anti-ship Vulcan gun, it is going to look really good with that yellow part around there, and I'm glad that that black part is provided in plastic instead of seals, and the gun launchers there, these probably have to be the worst because you're bending these round seals around red parts. Those may just come off after I'm done the review. But after green and yellow, it's going to be double blue here with the help of some seals, and again some nice black plastic there, which is going to look good for this sword strike part. And I'm a big fan of this baby blue. I think it looks fantastic overall. But once you put it all together, you've got two front and back parts here. You plug them in, and then once you put the seal on, though, you're not going to be able to take this off unless you want to just reseal it, which isn't a big issue. But you can see the boomerang up here is going to detach. It's got these seals here that when you put them on, you have to fold them around. So again, you've got a lot of 3D surfaces covered up in seals, but at least the black is going to make up for it, and it's not going to move there. And we've also got some gray seals that look good here on the ends. And the Midas Messer here is going to be even more fun when you pull it out. You can hold it in hand and attach on this clear effect part. With his sorted up left arm, you can see here the Panzer Ice and rocket anchor is actually looking really good. And this is with the help of just 2 small blue seals, but otherwise it's this nice piece of black plastic there on the inside. That's going to look great. This is just going to attach onto the regular shield mounting point, but even from the front where you're going to be sort of forced to have the arms there, you'll see that you're going to have a lot of black exposed, which is a lot better than empty inner frame, what we would normally see. The seals look good, and you can take this part and detach it. It's going to shoot out. And then you'll take the lead that's included here, and it's going to have this little black part down there. Plug that in on the inside, and you actually get to swap this off. So you have a closed one for when it's attached onto the forearm there with a nice black part built into it, and a black part down there for the mount for an open part ready to grab. But it's on to the perfect part here, as this is an absolute beast here. I shouldn't have the beam in here, but the number of colors that are going to be coming from plastic and seals here is absolutely astonishing, so let's see how it's going to work. So first, to focus on the modified ale pack here, you can see that you're going to have beam sabers that are going to have to sit at an angle the way that they go in there. Still nice that they're done up in white, and you'll see that there's lots of red and black plastic there. Just unfortunate that with pieces that are this wide here, the main wings, these are actually going to be done in red seals, whereas on the bottom you're actually going to have separate red, and red pieces there to attach on to the 2 black parts. For me, these battery packs, I'm going to say that they look a little bit ugly hanging down there. Just put in a little bit of lining. They should have a lot of gray in there if you wanted to go and paint them up properly. And you can see this blade back there. But in terms of movement, these are not going to move whatsoever. These parts are going to have a decent range of motion though, although you can imagine that they're going to be impacted by the weapons hanging off the side. And it is worth noting that you can detach this whole thing here and actually just go ahead and plug in this part if you want to have a much smaller ale pack, although you wouldn't be able to attach on all the weapons here. Because this part here would be missing, this is what's going to plug into the actual back of the Gundam. Here you can take the massive sword and plug it in over here, and in terms of mobility, this is going to have a fair bit there. This is just going to rotate. This part will come up and down, and you can see that it's actually got a peg there to hold the sword on the inside. And over here for the launcher, you can see that you've got a lot of play options. Sort of interesting, it's on a ball joint there, but you're going to plug this part in, and so it'll actually stay in an upright position, but you can see that you do have the freedom to move it if you want. This part here is going to rotate around, and another ball joint, so you should have some decent mobility that you can actually tuck away when you don't need it. And this whole thing here is going to slide neatly into the ale pack, and it's just worth noting again though that this thing is going to be sitting even further back on the body. Usually this is going to come up past the head, but instead it's not. But you could always fix this part up if you want to go regular ale instead of perfect. On to the big guns though, as we've got the Agni Hyper Impulse Beam Cannon here, which is actually looking pretty good, I'd say, for a high grade. Just a little bit of black ink all over the place there. You do have 2 large pieces that you plug in there. You've got this part down here for the barrel, and you can plug this part in, and this part will go through, and if you pop it out, it would actually just come out. Yellow seals are going to look good there, as they've already got some black built into them. Some little black and red seals down there, and this yellow one, although you can see the problematic part here when you're going to be folding it all over the place, but overall, it looks good, and there's the connection point. But how about this at almost 16 meters? This is an absolute beast of an anti-ship sword, and who doesn't get tired of that name, anti-ship sword? When you're going to be putting it together in terms of the plastic, large blue parts there that are going to snap on around this white tip down here, and you're also going to have a white part down there, which are then going to cap off with a blue seal here, and a very strange blue part, seal, and that's white and blue, and you can just see that it's going to be bent in all sorts of strange places. But of more interest, of course, is just going to be that it's got this beam emitter there, and you can see some cool effect parts down there. Seeing it in hand, this should be a lot of fun, even if it is going to be Impulse, who became more famous for using it. And for good measure, there's a third pink effect part there that you can plug in, which is going to make it even longer and even deadlier looking. But the simple, clean lines of the Strike Gundam's head there is a definite nice way to finish things off here. Simple high-grade construction there, just front and back part that you're going to put on. You do have a red piece there for the goatee, and for the jewel up top with the yellow part here for the big V-fin if you want to go cut off the child-proof parts is going to look a lot better. The eyes are going to fit on there just so-so. The black lighting, I'd say, is going to look okay on the face mask, but down in the ears, not so much. But overall, when you see it combined with the chest here, it's got all the right strike parts in all the right places. So lots of good stuff with some bonuses thrown in there, but ultimately the real test is going to be how it all works put together. But just in terms of colors, if you've got the patience to put on the seals, it's looking pretty good for a high grade of this price so far. Anyway, everybody, let me know what you think, as it's about to look a lot more like that. Thanks for watching, everybody. See ya. Master Grade Shinanju Head, back in his rightful place as the part of the Gundam Head collection. MHV